Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I have a fun card design for you, but before we get into the card design, I'm going to show you how I made the focal element of the card using embossing powder and some fun products from scrapbook.com. Scrapbook.com was nice enough to send me the products, and here we go. So I'm taking the mixed media brush from Wow Embossing Powder, and I'm spreading it across my cardstock. This is very thick, by the way, so I am going to decide to spread it out with a palette knife. Actually, we're just going to use the back of a knife because we are so technical here on this channel. So I'm just going to spread it back out. Couldn't find my palette knife, y'all. So I got that spread out. Now I'm going to drop in my embossing powders, and I'm going to do one panel of each embossing powder, and this is the Summer Twilight Trio from Wow Embossing Powder. This is the Verde embossing powder. It's got more of a, it's got particles in it, so you want to heat emboss this one from the back, so your elements do not go every which way because they will fly everywhere. So I'm going to heat emboss that from the back. You can see in the embossing on the video where I had too much liquid still. As you can see just a little bit ago, where it just bubbled up really fast. But the reason I'm doing these panels is because I'm going to die cut from them. And I actually have a couple different cards where I use elements from these panels. So you can find those on the blog. They'll be posted later. So, but this is, I'll link this video to each one of them because this will show you how we did the embossing. So we're going to take and swap across some embossing ink this time, and I'm going to use the lavender color. This is more of a transparent embossing powder. I didn't know that was a thing until recently, and I had to do a little research, and I found that was a thing because I kept using an embossing powder and I could see through it, and I was like, what the heck? What's going on? So we're going to heat set this one. This one you can just heat from the front. It's super easy, no problems. We're just going to heat emboss this, and it's super pretty. I love this color. So I got that one embossed. Now I'm going to do the last one. I'm going to swap across some Versamark ink, and then we're going to put on the blackberry color, and this one also has particles in it, and they are big particles, y'all. Big. So you can see some of them stick and some of them fell off. But I love this embossing powder because those specks melt out to give you the most beautiful dark bluish black color mixed in with that purple. It's just, it makes me think of an egg, like a speckled egg is what it makes me think of. All right, so we're going to heat emboss this panel, and you can see how it's still raised. That means I haven't melted that area enough. But with this embossing powder, you do want to be careful and not over emboss. Now, once you do get finished, you can flip around to the other side and heat set that. So now I've got a piece of clear acetate from scrapbook.com, and I'm brushing on that embossing mixed media liquid brush, and mixed media embossing brushes, I think is what it's called. And I found my palette knife, so I'm spreading that out, and I'm going to put on areas of all three of these colors. Plus, we're going to throw in a little gold and a little silver as well. So I'm just sprinkling that on and just kind of tapping it around to get it moving, because we're going to do like a little mixed media panel here. This is where the main focal point of my wreath came from. I die cut it from this panel along with a few other elements that are on other cards. That's the blackberry color going on. And you can see how those particles don't really grab. So I'm going to pour this back on. And then I'm going to take some of the more, the Verdity. I can never say the name of that. And it's sad because I was an art student and I should know how to say that. Anyway, so I'm going to heat set this, and because I'm on the acetate and I've used so much liquid, I'm heat setting it from the front. Excuse me. So I'm going to melt this on my acetate sheet. Remember, even with the heat resistant acetate, make sure you're moving your heat embossing gun. Or don't leave it in one place. Keep it moving. Keep it moving, people. Keep it moving. All right. So we're going to heat emboss this. And now we are going cooking with grease. All right. So I have decided I'm going to add some gold and silver into this. So there's the panels, just feel how they look net right then. And this is where I decide I'm going to add some silver. So I'm reheating the embossing powder, and I'm just going to sprinkle in little elements. Now, what I just sprinkled in right before this was some of the cotton candy embellishments from their Catherine Pooler and Sid's and Wow. And now I can't find them to tell you what the name of them are. Anyway, that's like a big chunky glitter. And I've sprinkled in some gold embossing powder and some polished silver embossing powder. I'm just sprinkling it with my fingers on the melted embossing powder that was already on there. And just added that to it. Now, once this cools down, we're going to take the Cozy Autumn wreath and die cut that. But before we do that, I'm die cutting my sentiment from the bottom of my card base, because I'm going to make it a stand-up card with a sentiment die cut sticking out. The die cut sentiment is part of the card base. It is the card base. So just a different way to add a cool element to your card. So we are using partial die cutting to do that. And these are the bold alphabet dies. I'm taking a T-square and a craft knife, and I'm going to cut off in a minute after I mark my little line. I'm going to cut off the parts that I want to go away. This reminds me why I don't use a craft knife, because it scares me. It brings me back to art school days where we had to use craft knives all the time, and I hated them. So I'm going to pull those off after we get a nice clean cut and popping off those little pieces. Just take your time. Cut real slow. Don't cut yourself. I say this because I'm sitting here watching this replay as I do the voiceover thinking I'm going to cut myself. And I know I didn't. Alright, so I'm going to clean up those edges. And I'm going to pop out the Y and the little piece of the E and the M on the inside of that. So after I erase the pencil mark. And really I didn't have to erase because I'm going to cover them up. But I just pop that out, and there is my card base. It stands up. You have the word shaped at the bottom. Really fun little card design. All right, now I'm going to die cut those same letters from a piece of the Peppermint Smooth paper pack. And I'm just going to attach those over my die cut stand, my card stand. But before we do that, we're going to add some of the mixed media brushed from Wow, and we're going to our letters, and we're going to add some gilding to that. So we're going to pop on some of the polished gold embossing powder and melt that on each one. Now, I will tell you, you have to work quickly because it does actually dry. I'm going to brush that onto my pink cardstock from this Peppermint Smooth paper pack. Cardstock pack. There's my gold embossing powder. It is actually called Polished Gold Superfine Embossing Powder. Okay, my letters, I'm just going to tap in to the embossing powder that was on that I used for the other letter. This is where I realized it actually does dry fast. All right, so we're going to smooth out, emboss all of our embossing powder. Rick cannot talk today, apparently. So we're going to melt that, and then we're going to melt all our letters. Oh, we're melting all of our letters, y'all. Now I've die cut 4 of the Cozy Autumn wreaths. I'm going to take and apply the top portion of my card. That's the pink from the Peppermint paper pad with the gold embossing. Then we're going to add our silver. The cardstock for the wreath, the Cozy Autumn wreath, was the Peppermint paper pad and a little piece of the Christmas smooth cardstock. and our embossed piece with the acetate. I just cut them 4 times. I'm going to glue them on with the Artis glue, rotating the angle, or rotating the die cut where there's different pieces sticking out to form our nice full wreath. And then I'm going to add a metallic bow that I cut from the Bow Essential dies from scrapbook.com. Everything's listed on the blog post on my channel, on my blog. So you can find all the details there because I cannot remember the name. All right, so I've taken another piece of the Christmas paper pad and I'm going to stamp my sentiment and I'm going to cut the stamp, so beware. I'm cutting the stamp, y'all. It's okay. I can place it back together. All right, so I'm going to actually end up doing this twice because I didn't like the placement of the first time I embossed this. I decided it needed to go up a little higher, and the stamp set I'm using is Festive Tree and Greetings, also from scrapbook.com. Everything we're using today is from scrapbook.com. So, there's that. Because they're great. They're fabulous. And if you don't know, if you've never shopped with them before, there's always a coupon code or some kind of free offer with your order. And even if you don't order, you can get the free gift. You just have to pay the shipping. I love all their stuff. It's fabulous. I've been super happy with everything I've ordered. All right, so I've heat embossed my sentiments. I'm going to cool them off, and I'm going to trim them down a little bit after we wipe them off with our towel. We are going to trim those sentiments down just a tad. And it's always, you know, the other sentiment was okay. It just wasn't what I was wanting. It was a little too low, too skinny. All right, so I'm going to glue my wreath to my card front on our pink piece. And in the end, I will actually add some pops of color to the wreath too to make some little berries. I just don't do it in the video. I decided after the video was finished that it needed a little something something. So that's what it is. I added some pops of color in the bubblegum color to match my pink paper. Now I'm just going to glue on my Gilded Designer Series pattern paper letters over my die cut letters so that it has a nice pretty sentiment going on. I love the paper color combination. This paper pad is absolutely fabulous. I love it. It was wonderful to work with. I love the alphabet dies. I'm a big alphabet die person anyway, so there's that. And I'm going to just glue on my little sentiment here. We're just adding a couple of dots of Artis glue to the 2 letters on that side, and that is going to finish the card. And you can see on the pictures where I've got the pops of color. All right, that's it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.